Imagine waking up tomorrow and the entire schooling system you grew up with. The endless rote memorization, those incredibly rigid subjects, and that intense, frankly terrifying pressure of one massive final board exam dictating your whole future. What if all of that was just gone? What if we literally rewrote the very DNA of education to focus on how a child's brain actually, organically learns?
Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive policy shift, the National Curriculum Framework for School Education 2023, or NCF 2023 for short. And listen, this isn't just some dry, standard bureaucratic document. No way. It is a comprehensive blueprint entirely designed to reimagine how millions of students will learn, grow, and be assessed. We are talking about a fundamental paradigm shift in the entire philosophy of schooling.
So, here's our agenda for today. First up, the education blueprint. Then, a new school structure, followed by how learning is changing. After that, we'll look at rethinking exams and assessments, and finally, the classroom of tomorrow.
All right, part one, the education blueprint. Why a new framework?
To really grasp this framework, we have to admit something. We urgently need to evolve past a legacy education system that was built for an industrial era, an era that, frankly, just doesn't exist anymore. We're looking at a complete paradigm shift here. We're moving away from a system that trapped kids in rigid silos, where you were strictly a science student or an art student, dealing with high-stakes pressure that honestly just led to massive burnout. The NCF vision, on the other hand, is all about holistic development and flexible pathways. Because the modern world, it absolutely needs multidisciplinary problem solvers, not just human calculators trained to memorize a textbook.
Moving on to part two, a new school structure, evolving the architecture of learning.
Looking at the physical structure of schooling, this framework builds a completely new foundation, literally changing the timeline of a child's educational journey. I mean, this is the most visible change to the Indian education system in decades. We are saying a very firm goodbye to the old 10+2 structure, which kind of arbitrarily lumped totally different developmental stages together. And we're saying hello to the brand new 5+3+3+4 framework.
So, this new 5+3+3+4 structure, it's brilliantly designed to align perfectly with a child's cognitive development. First up, the foundational stage, for ages 3 to 8. This is entirely play-based, because, hey, young kids learn best through play, right? Then we shift into the preparatory stage, ages 8 to 11, introducing more discovery-oriented learning. By the middle stage, which is ages 11 to 14, it becomes all about experiential, hands-on understanding. And finally, the secondary stage, for ages 14 to 18, becomes deeply multidisciplinary, really preparing young adults for the real world.
All right, part three, how learning is changing, from memorizing facts to mastering skills.
Now that we've got a handle on the architectural structure, let's look at the actual process of learning happening inside those walls. The absolute core of the NCF is competency-based education. Basically, this means the priority is entirely on what you can actually do with your knowledge in the real world, rather than what you can merely recite on a test paper. Think of it like this. It's the difference between memorizing the formula for velocity and actually being able to calculate the speed of a falling object to solve a real engineering problem. To make this real-world competency a reality, those old, rigid walls between subjects, they're coming down. For students in the secondary stage, subjects are now broken into diverse pools, and they can flexibly mix and match them. Just imagine the freedom here. A student can now passionately combine physics from Pool 4 right alongside history from Pool 3, and maybe take a deep dive into visual arts from Pool 2. It finally honors the fact that human interests are diverse and interconnected. As the framework states, the curriculum must enable students to find their own paths in life and to be adaptable to changing circumstances. This guiding principle hits the nail on the head. It reminds us exactly why we're breaking down these academic silos in the first place. When you allow a student to curate their education based on their genuine curiosity, they develop into highly adaptable individuals. And let's be real, in our unpredictable, fast-paced modern economy, adaptability is probably the single greatest skill a person can possess.
Okay, part 4. Rethinking exams and assessments, lowering the stakes, raising the value.
So let's tackle the topic that absolutely everyone, parents, teachers, and especially the students, stresses out about the most: testing. We really need to address the biggest myth floating around right now regarding the future of high-stakes testing. With all this amazing talk about play-based learning and flexibility, people are naturally asking, wait, are board exams disappearing entirely? It's a totally fair question, but the reality is a bit more nuanced than just wiping them off the map.
The truth is, exams aren't gone,
but they are getting a major overhaul. They're becoming modular, significantly less stressful, and focused on actual understanding rather than rote memorization. Those old board exams were terrifying, right? Everything relied on one single high-stakes test at the very end of the year. The NCF introduces modular exams. You take them when you are actually ready. They test those core competencies we just talked about, and crucially, they allow for improvement. It completely shifts the exam from a singular doomsday judgment to a supportive, ongoing progress check.
And it goes way beyond just the board exams. The day-to-day changes in how a student's progress is measured are profound. We're looking at continuous formative assessments. That means getting helpful feedback as you learn, not just a grade at the end. There's a massive focus on critical thinking, multiple attempts to take the pressure off, and holistic progress cards. These new progress cards ensure parents get a much more comprehensive picture of their child's abilities, factoring in things like emotional intelligence, teamwork, and practical skills, not just a static letter grade.
And finally, Part 5, the classroom of tomorrow. What this means for you.
Let's see how all this policy actually translates into reality when that school bell rings tomorrow morning. For students today, the daily experience is going to be infinitely more interactive, flexible, and tailored to their unique interests. The classroom is officially transforming from a passive lecture hall, where a teacher talks and students just silently copy down notes, into a vibrant, multidisciplinary laboratory of ideas. It's becoming a space that actively invites collaboration, debate, and hands-on experimentation.
But this does leave us with a final, vital thought to ponder. A curriculum is really only as good as the classrooms it lives inside. So is the system actually ready to adapt? The NCF 2023 is undeniably an ambitious, beautiful blueprint, but executing this, that requires a monumental shift. We're talking massive investments in teacher training, building entirely new physical and digital infrastructures, and honestly, completely rewiring the mindset of society at large. We've got the blueprint, but now the real work of building the future begins. What do you think? Are we ready for it? Thanks for diving into this explainer with me. Keep exploring and stay curious.